Hello friends, welcome again to the class on consumer behavior. Today we discuss one of the most important models of consumer behavior, the Howard Schultz model of buying behavior. This model was proposed by two well-known professors, John Howard and Jagadish Sheth. In 1969, they put forward the model in their publication titled The Theory of Buyer Behavior. Howard Schultz model is one of the modern models on buying behavior of consumers. It is also known as one of the specific models on buying behavior. This model describes how the consumer behaves in the market. It explains the variables influencing the buyers before and during the purchase action. It also explains the processes taking place inside the mind of buyer and the nature and types of decisions that the buyer makes after rational thinking. The Howard Schultz model has four parts. They are termed as input variables, hypothetical constructs, output variables, and exogenous variables. The input variables are information and cues received to the buyer from the market or from other sources. The hypothetical constructs are the psychological processes inside the mind of the buyer before and during the buying action. The output variables are the decisions or conclusions of the buyer. The exogenous variables are those outside factors in the environment which affect the buyer throughout the decision-making process. In fact, the exogenous variables are not part of the model. They are included in the model as part of external environment which can influence the buyer and his decision-making process directly or indirectly throughout the entire process. We can describe the model by explaining the step-by-step processes the buyer goes through before and during the buying action. We can start with input variables. Input variables include the stimuli and information cues which influence or attract consumers towards the product. These may be advertisements, attractive sales promotion strategies, newspaper reports, or opinions of friends and family, etc. etc. According to Howard Schultz model, there are three types of input variables. They are significative stimuli, symbolic stimuli, and social stimuli. Significative stimuli are the marketing stimuli in the form of product features and marketing strategies. The symbolic stimuli are the consumer understanding of the significative stimuli. The third stimuli are social stimuli. These are the social factors which influence and attract consumer towards the product. Here you can see the diagrammatic representation of the model. In the first part, the input variables are given under three heads: significative, symbolic, and social. The significative stimuli are the product features and characteristics. These include product quality, price, uniqueness of the product, availability of the product, services of the product including repair, guarantee, warranty, after sale service, etc. These all are offered by the marketer to the consumer. Significative stimuli are considered the strongest and most influential input variables. These are very much significant in buying decisions, and that is why these are called significative stimuli. The next is symbolic stimuli. These include the same variables under the head significative, such as product quality, price, uniqueness of the product, availability, services, etc. Why the same variables are seen here? Under significative stimuli, these variables are given as product features, but under symbolic stimuli, These variables are to be viewed from the part of the consumer. How the consumer interprets and understands these features. In other words, the symbolic stimuli are the consumer version of the significative stimuli. We cannot say that the consumer believes all that the marketer offers through advertisements. For example, take the case of advertisement of toilet soaps. The manufacturer says that the soap is made up of 100% Ayurvedic ingredients and therefore capable of solving your skin problems and making you more beautiful. These are the claims and offers from the part of marketer. These are called the significative stimuli. But the consumer is not ready to believe all this. For example, the consumer believes that 50% of the ingredients of the soap may be Ayurvedic. He believes that perhaps some minor issues on the skin may be cured by using the soap. And he doesn't believe that the soap can make you beautiful. That means the significative stimuli promoted and advertised by the manufacturer are not accepted by the consumers in the same sense and intensity. Here, the significative stimuli are redefined by the buyer and are accepted on the basis of his own interpretation. These redefined stimuli are called symbolic stimuli. Thus, we can say that the symbolic stimuli are the consumer version of the significative stimuli. In the case of price also, it is relevant. Maruti cars are often marketed as economical and suitable for ordinary class people. Rich people may think that Maruti cars are less expensive and economical, but poor people think it is costly. That means the product features are taken by consumers according to their level of income or ability and knowledge. Okay, come to the next input, the third input variables. It is called social stimuli. These variables are the stimuli aroused out of social life of human beings. These include influences of family, reference groups, society, etc. Now, the input variables are clear. We can move to the second part, that is the processing part. This part of the model is called hypothetical constructs. This explains the complex state of mind where all the psychological processes are taking place. Here the information cues are evaluated on the basis of attitude, perception, motives, etc. It explains the way the consumer compares information about variable products in order to choose the best which fits his needs and desires. The model says that the information processing is taking place in the mind in a two-step process. On one side of the mind, the perception about the product is created, and on the other side, the attitude and purchase intention are developed. The model explains these two as perceptual constructs and learning constructs. The output of the perceptual constructs is the formation of a perception towards the product. The output of the learning constructs may be the purchase intention or the purchase action. The consumer can take a decision against purchase also. Firstly, we can see how the perceptual constructs are formed. Under perceptual constructs, the model explains how the perception towards the product is formed in the mind of consumer. We can examine the process. In the perceptual constructs, we can see some variables such as overt search, stimulus ambiguity, attention, and perceptual bias. We can start with the stimulus ambiguity because the input variables symbolic stimuli are connected to stimulus ambiguity. We have already understood that the symbolic variables show how the information and cues about the product are understood by the consumer. Here, as part of the marketing efforts by the marketer, a lot of information may reach to the consumer, and because of the information overload, he may get confused. Or sometimes he may not get sufficient or enough idea about the product. Or sometimes the consumer may not have proper knowledge or experience to understand the information received to him. However, in most of the situations, the consumer may not be ready to believe all that the marketer claims. He may have some doubts on these claims, whether to believe it or not. So what happens? He is getting confused with all. This is how the ambiguity is created. Ambiguity is the vagueness or doubt or confusion over the product features. Ambiguity creates some vague idea about the product in the mind of consumer. This is how he starts to pay more attention to the product features. We can see an arrow mark starting from stimulus ambiguity is directed to attention. This means that the ambiguity urges the consumer to attend the product more seriously in order to get clarity of information. On the other side, the ambiguity urges the consumer to collect more information about the product from various available sources. This is how he starts over to search. He searches for more information about the product. This search leads him to various sources of information. We know that many commercial and non-commercial sources are there to supply information. The consumer can make use of some commercial sources such as company websites, advertisements of the product, or he can directly go to a showroom and collect information directly from the salespersons. All these are the commercial sources. He can also make use of some non-commercial sources such as newspaper reports, reviews, opinions of family members, friends, relatives, or he can collect the usage experiences from previous users. Based on all this information, he comes to a conclusion about the product. This is the perception formed in the mind of consumer. In the model, the perception formed is mentioned as perception bias. It means that while processing the information received from various sources, there is every possibility to reach to a biased conclusion, a biased perception. The consumer is a human being, and therefore he may have his own tastes and preferences. While processing the information, these tastes and preferences of consumer influence the mind to get into a conclusion favorable to his own interests. This is how the perception gets biased. I may explain this with an example. You are college students. Do you have any idea to buy a two-wheeler to go to college? You may have such an idea, because you are getting a lot of information from many sources. The marketers of two-wheelers are advertising their products in newspapers, magazines, and television. Moreover, a number of your friends are using two-wheelers. Of course, it will be a comfortable thing if you get one. Still now, you had no thought of buying a two-wheeler because your father has not given the permission to buy one. Now, your father permitted you to buy a two-wheeler at your choice. How do you proceed with the purchase? Really, now you are a little bit confused. A dream is getting accomplished. Now, what to buy? From where to buy? Yes, we need to think and should take a wise decision. Some of you may have very clear and thorough knowledge about two-wheelers and its various brands. Some of you may have some knowledge. Still, some others may have no idea. What is your level of knowledge? Now you realize that the information you had acquired so far is not enough to take a good buying decision. Some information requires more clarification. It is better to collect some more idea about the engine capacity, power and mileage of some good brands. Even though you have some preferences about the overall look and style of the two-wheeler, some clarifications are required about engine pickup and riding comfort, etc. Here you have some ambiguity or confusion, and therefore you decide to make an overt search to get more accurate information. You know that your father is very specific about the price, safety and mileage of the two-wheeler. Actually, you are not at all bothered about all this. You are more specific in the performance of the engine and the overall style and look of the vehicle, etc. That means when you make a choice, your taste such as overall style, look, performance, etc. would get some preference over and above all other features. Thus, your perception becomes biased. It gives more weightage to your own preferences. This is perception bias. Thus, the perceptual constructs are concluded with the formation of perception. Not an impartial perception, but a biased perception. Okay, now we can look at the other side of the mind where learning constructs are formed. Learning constructs explain how the buyer forms attitudes, opinions, and how the brand comprehension is made. How does he get into buying decisions, etc. When we look at the diagram, we can see that this set of constructs include variables such as motives, confidence, attitude, choice criteria, brand comprehension, and purchase intention. We have already studied that the learning is the basis of behavior and learning makes changes in behavior. In the case of buying behavior also, the learning is relevant. This is the reason why this stage is called learning constructs. From the model, it is very clear that the variables start from motive and end with intention. Motive is the buying motive and it is the basis of all buying actions. As explained in the example, we have some motives behind the purchase of two-wheeler. In addition to motive, we have some choice criteria also. Choice criteria is based on various features of the product. It may vary from person to person according to the perception bias. In our example, we could see that our choice criteria are different from father because he is more conscious about price and mileage, but you are more concerned with performance, look and style. The learning constructs are the core area of consumer decision making. According to the nature and level of learning, different consumers may process the stimuli differently. The model says that under learning constructs, 3 different levels are there to consumer buying decisions. These levels are called extensive problem solving, limited problem solving, and routinized response behavior. These are the different stages of consumer decision making. This can also be called as different situations of consumer decision making. The learning constructs are formed and decisions are taken differently in these different levels. Knowledge about the product, motives, attitude, perception, etc. of the buyer are the factors which determine the decision making strategy of the consumer. Now we can examine the decision making process under different levels. At first, the extensive problem solving. Extensive problem solving can be considered as an early stage in the decision making process. We can look at the characteristics of consumer who goes through extensive decision making process. The consumer adopts extensive decision making strategy when he has little or no knowledge about the product. Here he has not much idea about various brands available in the market. He doesn't even know how to evaluate the brands. He has no brand choice and has no preference to any particular brand because he doesn't know which brand is good and which brand is bad. We can apply this extensive decision making strategy in our example. You want to buy a two-wheeler, but you have not much idea about two-wheelers. You don't know on which basis the two-wheelers are to be compared and evaluated. You don't know how to select a good two-wheeler. In short, you have not much idea about it. Here, you can adopt the extensive decision making strategy. Under this strategy, the consumer has not much idea about the product. Therefore, his first preference would be in creating a comprehensive idea about the product. Thus, he tries to make an idea about the product based on the motives in his mind and perception created at the first stage. This comprehensive idea is termed as brand comprehension. Brand comprehension means the knowledge and awareness about the brand features. It is the total picture of the brand developed in the mind of consumer based on motive and perception bias. As we know, the consumer actually has little knowledge about the product, therefore has some hesitation in taking a buying decision. He can make a purchase decision only if he is confident enough to proceed. That means the consumer can convert the brand comprehension into a purchase intention only if he is confident enough to do so. If you have not much confidence with the purchase, you may end up the process here. Thus, the output of the decision making process remains with brand comprehension. In our example, you very well know that you have not enough knowledge to evaluate various brands of two-wheelers and therefore at first you developed a brand comprehension. Now you know something about two-wheelers. However, you have not much confidence to proceed further. You can proceed with a purchase only if you have sufficient confidence. If you have no confidence to proceed, you may end the process there. Some other consumers may stop the decision making process even before developing the brand comprehension. If the consumer is not getting sufficient information and becomes unable to proceed further, his output may end at the attention level itself. At the same time, some confident consumers may move forward up to the level of purchase even if he has no idea about the product. Such consumers make a clear brand comprehension and develops an attitude towards the product and proceed with the purchase. Thus, the output under extensive problem solving may be different to different consumers. Some may reach only at attention level. Some others create brand comprehension and stop the process. Still, some develop a strong attitude towards the product. Few consumers reach at purchase intention and only few make a purchase action. All these possible outputs are seen as output variables in the diagram. In addition to the level of confidence, some sudden hindrances may also sometimes stop the process. This may be due to price hike, inadequate supply of brand, financial problems, time pressure, personal or social issues, etc. If there is any such issue, the process may not result into actual purchase. It may end at any level in between. This is how different outputs such as attention, brand comprehension, attitude, intention and purchase are acquired. Now we can see how the next level of decision making, that is limited problem solving, is functioning. In this situation, the consumer has some idea about available brands. That means that the brand comprehension is clear. Here, the consumer is well aware of choice criteria, or he knows how to make a selection. However, he has no brand choice or no preference to any particular brand. That means a consumer under this situation is ready to buy any brand which satisfies his choice criteria. He knows about the brands and how to select from. Thus, he can start the decision process directly from choice criteria. Here, he evaluates different brands based on the criteria, and as a result, certain attitude is created towards the brand. If this attitude is a positive one, of course he can proceed to purchase intention and purchase action. If the attitude is negative, he ends the process there, and then the decision will remain at brand comprehension. As mentioned earlier, here also sometimes the evaluation may create a favorable attitude towards a particular brand, but due to some reasons he may not be able to proceed further. It may be because of financial problems or because of some personal or social issues mentioned earlier. In such a situation, his output may remain at the positive attitude or at the purchase intention. It means that the Howard-shaped model put forward different output options considering the circumstances which the consumer goes through during the process of decision making. Thus, the output under limited problem solving strategy may be brand comprehension, attitude, intention, or purchase action. The output attention is not possible under limited problem solving because the consumer has already acquired clear idea about the product and there is no question of attention here. Therefore, he started the decision process from brand comprehension. Now, the third level of decision making, routinized response behavior. Under routinized response behavior, at first we can look at the consumer characteristics. Here the consumer has clear and specific knowledge about the brands and has very clear choice also. Therefore, the consumer requires neither the development of brand comprehension nor the evaluation of products. Here the consumer may be considered as a loyal consumer. Therefore, he has a strong attachment to a particular brand. Because of this, he may not be ready to evaluate or compare the features of other brands. Under this situation, the consumer decision making is directly starting from the attitude and reaches to purchase intention. That means here the decision making process is comparatively easy and quick. However, as seen in the other situations, the decisions may end at any level before reaching at purchase action due to many other reasons. Then the possible output may be attitude, intention, or purchase action. The next constructs are called external variables. This is the last part of the model. In the model, these are called exogenous variables. They are the social, cultural, or economic factors which affect the consumer buying behavior. These include variables such as social setting, social class of the consumer, culture prevailing in the society, income level of consumer, the character traits of the consumer, the pressure of time, status, social class, etc., etc. The role of exogenous variables is also relevant in the model. The model says that the exogenous variables may affect the consumer buying behavior throughout all the processes. Thus, these variables have bearing on all the constructs discussed so far and indirectly or directly influences the output. Even though the external variables have not been presented in the model and are not direct part of the decision making process, these have a significant impact on consumer decisions and are used in the marketing activities as a criteria for segmentation. When look at the diagram, we can see some dotted lines in the area of hypothetical constructs. These are the feedback lines. We can see a dotted line is starting from purchase and ends at satisfaction. This means that after purchase, the consumer gets satisfaction, and this satisfaction may be added to the brand awareness as a feedback. This will reflect in the next purchase decision. Similarly, some dotted lines are also starting from attitude and confidence, showing that the attitude and confidence created out of first evaluation will be added to the attention and perception. This clearly shows that the level of attention and the nature of perception formed towards the product at the beginning may be deferred after. According to Howard, this model is a sophisticated integration of the various social, psychological, and marketing influences on consumer choice. It attempts to explain the rationality of choice of the product by the consumer under conditions of incomplete information and reduced processing capability. It analyzes the external symptoms of behavior, reactions, and thought processes that cannot be subject to a direct observation. Now we can summarize the Howard-Schaeth model of buying behavior. There are inputs in the form of stimuli. These inputs are attracting consumer attention and affect consumer learning and perception. These variables are termed hypothetical since they cannot be directly measured at the time of occurrence. Based on these, the consumer makes some conclusions. These are the outputs. Hope that everybody could understand the Howard-Schaeth model of buying behavior. We can meet in the next class with another topic. Thank you.